Good evening and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Najat Tijani with updates from across the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the establishment of a public-private partnership infrastructure company named Infraco with an initial seed capital of 1 trillion naira. It is envisaged that over time the entity will grow to 15 trillion naira in assets and capital. Presidential spokesperson Office of the Vice President Laolu Akonde in a press release stated that Infraco will be one of the premier infrastructure finance entities in Africa and will be wholly dedicated to Nigeria's infrastructural development. The entity has been developed with concept designs from the National Economic Council and the Central Bank of Nigeria. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is to chair a steering committee tasked with setting up the company. The initial seed capital for the entity will come from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and the Africa Finance Corporation. The board of Infraco will be chaired by the Central Bank Governor. Others are the Managing Director of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, the President of the Africa Finance Corporation, as well as representatives of the Nigeria Governors Forum and the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. The board will also have 3 independent directors from the private sector. The Chairman, Senate Committee on Public Accounts, Matthew Uruhide, says a more comprehensive and transparent mechanism is key to prudent management of public funds. This was the position of the committee during screening of the new Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Agugu. National Assembly correspondent Mobulaji Moribiri reports.
Adolphus Agugu is an accountant with vast experience in financial auditing, having been newly appointed Auditor General of the Federation by President Muhammadu Buhari. Here he appears before the Senate Committee on Public Accounts for screening. The lawmakers are pointing to critical areas of need and other lapses in the financial sector, and how the new Auditor General will address them when confirmed.
What are you going to do from all withdrawals, from all that is given out on service-wide votes? And the years that are passed, you are going to get us the report. And from this year, I'm telling you, we have service-wide votes to the tune of 758 billion. If you go and check that one, that's almost 0.5% of our budget. Service-wide votes.
With the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation as key to the nation's financial preparatories, the Auditor General nominee is positive of fresh ideas.
Experience gathered over the years will be put to full use if my nomination is confirmed by this distinguished Senate Public Accounts Committee.
Report by the committee would be submitted to the Senate at plenary for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army 13 Brigade has handed over 24 females, 11 children as trafficked victims and 2 suspected traffickers to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons in Calabar. The breakthrough occurred when Operation Apaku, the Cross River State-owned security outfit, destroyed a suspected baby factory located in Calabar South local government area of the state. Achibang Basi reports.
These teenage pregnant girls seem to share similar stories of being introduced to the baby factory by friends with the promise by the perpetrators to be well catered for. You don't know the place they took you to?
Yes. The very whole week that I came to that place.
How did you get to that place?
It's my friend that brings me.
The suspects are a husband and wife who allegedly operates the baby factory, deny their involvement in the cartel.
All of them don't know me. You can find out from them.
Well, handing over the suspects and the rescued traffic persons to NAPTIC on behalf of the brigade commander, the officer commanding 13 Brigade Provost, Major Stanley Ikpeme, says the Nigerian Army will not relent in ensuring that peace that Cross River State is known for is restored. Head of Operations NAPTIP, Oba Jacob assures that the suspects will be properly investigated and prosecuted.
That the victims will be taken care of at the shelter where the suspect will be properly prosecuted.
Oba Jacob is also urging Nigerians to collaborate with the agency in tackling issues of human trafficking and migrants in the country. In Calabar, Achibom Bassi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is tasking its officers and men to brace up to the challenges posed by security threats to sustain the commitment of protecting national assets and infrastructure. The acting Commandant General of the NSCDC, Hilary Madu, was on tour at the FCT Command. Abdurrahman Jibrila Usman reports.
Issues of insecurity across the country has kept security agencies on their toes. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is one arm that is never deterred by the daunting situation. The presence of the acting Commandant General is a morale booster. He charges them to be professionals. Agro Rangers unit, he says, will receive more empowerment to ensure sanity returns to farmlands as well as enforce COVID-19 safety guidelines in the FCT.
The government can do for us, they will do. Because we need logistics. We need logistics. We are ready. Federal government is ready.
The FCT commander of the NSCDC appreciates the visit and assured Nigerians of more commitment to service delivery. In Abuja, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Similarly, in Imo State, residents have been urged to be wary of adulterated products as their attendant consequences cannot be overemphasized. The State Commandant, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Imo State Command, Elisha Danjuma, gave the advice while parading suspects alleged to have been involved in the production of petroleum products in Owerri. Loretta Arinze reports.
Suspects alleged to have been involved in the production of adulterated petroleum products were paraded at their illegal factory located at Naze Industrial Cluster Phase 1, where the alleged production of motor grease and ATF transmission fluid were being undertaken. Conducting newsmen around the facility, the State Commandant, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Imo State Command, Elisha Danjuma says the suspects were arrested, following increased surveillance by the officers of his command. He described the act as harmful to man and inimical to the federal government's efforts at eradicating corruption.
I want the general public to be careful where they buy their products. Let them buy products that are certified.
He further says his command has resolved to take the fight against criminality to the nooks and crannies of the states and appeals to those engaged in such nefarious acts to desist forthwith before the long arm of the law catches up with them.
We will not leave them. We will continue to pursue them. Wherever they hide, we will fish them out. Therefore, I ask that everybody should look for a legitimate business to do than doing this illegal business that is causing problems for others.
In Owerri, Loretta Arinze, NTA News.
And from Owerri, we head to Rivers State, where Governor Nyesom Wike says despite the inauguration of the Advisory Council of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, oil-producing state governors are still sidelined in the affairs of the agency. The governor said this when he played host to members of the House of Representatives Committee on the NDDC, led by its chairman, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, at the Government House in Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwere completes the report.
In Versailles, Governor Ben Ayade
Commission now acts like a state on its own, refusing to interface with the governors of the oil-producing states to strategically develop the Niger Delta region because of the undue interferences by the authorities. He said, contrary to the assumption that the governors of the Niger Delta are critical stakeholders in the affairs of the Commission.
The Governing Council was inaugurated last year. From 2015, we never had any Governing Council. Even when we inaugurated, we are not involved in anything that happens in the DDC.
He urged the National Assembly to ensure that planned amendments of the Electoral Act will usher in a new era of free and fair elections in the country. Leader of the delegation, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, said they are in Port Harcourt for an oversight to the NDDC, and their visit to Governor Wike is predicated on the fact that he is a critical stakeholder.
We cannot continue to do things in the old way and expect a different result. We have to think anew, we have to act anew.
The chairman of the committee assured that under their watch, they will ensure NDDC work in synergy with critical stakeholders of the region. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, has expressed satisfaction with the enormous human capacity available at the National Space Research and Development Agency. At the inauguration of the Geo-Reference Infrastructure Demographic Data of the National Space Research and Development Agency Headquarters, Abuja, the minister said the Grid 3 Nigeria project and the implementation team are to be domiciled at the space agency, expressing the confidence that the facility will improve data collection in synergy with sister agencies for space research development. The minister also pointed out that adequate funding is key to further developing the agency. The estimation of the Grid 3 project data infrastructure for good governance, he affirmed, will assist in filling the gaps in sustainable development, as geospatial technology remains an important tool in national development. And the Lagos Network Center is our first stop on Nationwide. Adiola is our guide. Over to you, Adiola.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has expressed his administration's readiness to synergize with Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA) in areas of comparative advantages for the growth and development of the state. Governor Sanwo-Olu stated this while receiving the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, and other top officials of the agency at the Lagos House at Lausa, Ikeja. Musa Toliat reports.
Babajide Sanwo-Olu says partnership between Lagos State Government and Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, will go a long way to enhance maritime safety and water transportation development in the state. He stated this when he granted audience to the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, at the State House.
We want to see that real synergy, being consummated. We can, like you said, we can set up a small technical working, group that can deep dive and see in what specific areas, we have ideas and you have ideas, and we all can team it together and have some working document that can help.
We are looking at the focus area for Lagos State to be ferry as one of the areas, so that we can reduce the level of the traffic we are having and improve the confidence of foreign investors.
Governor Sanwo-Olu said the partnership with NIMASA will also include fishery and development of the shipping industry. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Now, frozen meat weighing more than 950 kilograms have been intercepted and destroyed by the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. The meat, allegedly imported from South Africa, was seized at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Lagos. And Michael Olalaye has that report.
The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service is vested with the responsibility of controlling regional and international movement of plants, animal and aquatic resources. But with the emergence of zoonotic diseases, in which the ravaging COVID-19 falls into this category, there has been greater demand to intensify surveillance to prevent spread of exotic diseases from agricultural products. This seizure is one of the results of extensive intelligence gathering, and according to the agency, the items were intercepted on the 6th of February, but the consignee, knowing the gravity of the offense, is at large.
Now, this is what should be done to anybody or any product, rather, that came in without import permit and necessary health certification.
Quantifying the financial value of the frozen meat is still sketchy, simply because the agency could not lay its hands on import documents.
Investigation is still ongoing. We are trying to make effort to locate the importer. Right now, the only person we are able to get hold of is the driver, but he is not the importer. Investigation is ongoing for us to locate the agent and the importer. And as soon as we get hold of them, the law will take its course.
The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service is not alone in this difficult task, but enjoys support from other security outfits in keeping tab on smugglers of agricultural products. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Kudos to the officers on duty who got that concernment. Well, Nationwide will continue after this break. Please stay with us.
If you're just joining us, this is Nationwide on the NTA. We're talking political matters now. The Director General of the All Progressives Congress Governors Forum, Saliu Mohammed Lukman, has appealed to party faithful to take advantage of the current nationwide APC membership registration and revalidation exercise as a step to recruiting committed party members who will encourage leaders to allow constructive internal debate in the party. The Director General, in a statement, said the APC was able to deepen political competition in the country through internal contests as a strategy which is strengthening the definitive credentials of the party so far. The APC Governors Forum Director General aligned himself with the opinion of some stakeholders of the party, saying the capacity to correct wrong decisions during the ongoing membership registration will strengthen democracy and promote the progressive mantra of the APC. The DG also added that the party's gains in promoting respect among leaders need to be protected, while issues of who qualifies to be a member of the APC should not be ambiguous. A former Senate President and the leader of the All Progressives Congress in the Southeast, Senator Ken Nnamani, says with the massive infrastructural development embarked upon by the present administration in the country, especially in the Southeast zone, the people of the area are convinced to join and remain with the APC. This is while revalidating his membership of the party at his Enugu South Ward 2, Amechi Uwani polling unit in Enugu State. Chinenye Moye reports.
A meeting between the APC stakeholders in Enugu State and the Revalidation and Registration Committee, which sealed peace talks ahead of the 2023 elections, kickstarted the registration and revalidation exercise for members. To show his strong commitment to the party, the APC leader in the Southeast and former Senate President revalidated his membership at the polling unit 007, Ward 2, Amechi 1, Enugu South local government area of the state, and urged the people of the community, the state, and indeed all Nigerians to join the party and be part of the change initiative.
I would like our people to demonstrate their interest, their enthusiasm, their patriotic role in joining the winning team. Registration is a continuous process, but this first round will demonstrate that we are determined to participate.
Senator Jonathan Zwingina, who led other members of the Revalidation and Registration Committee in Enugu State, said there is need for everyone to take advantage of the exercise and join the national movement.
Any member of the APC is in no way disadvantaged by this exercise.
Others who spoke at the event, including the caretaker chairman of APC Enugu State, Dr. Ben Moye, encouraged interested persons from 18 years and above to register with the party and be in the mainstream of politics for a better future.
In Enugu State, we know we have the number, and you know that the next election will make a difference.
In Enugu, Chinenye Moye, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says no section of the country or organization will be left out in the ongoing efforts at creating more polling units. The assurance was given during a stakeholders consultative meeting with the media in Abuja.
We'll brief and consult widely before we eventually take a decision on this important issue of voter access to polling units. But in any case, we have made the discussion paper available So our intentions have been clearly spelled out in the document. So nobody can read ulterior motives into what we are doing, because whatever we said we are going to do is on the table. We have published the document, we have widely shared the hard copies, and we have also made the soft copies available on our website and social media platforms. So everything is in the open.
To education matters now. Revamping government-owned university structures, provision of adequate facilities, as well as hiring professionals for optimum academic output are some suggestions from Nigerians sharing their thoughts on the approval of 20 additional private universities in the country by the federal government. Utibi Achibong completes the story.
It could be recalled that the Federal Executive Council FEC on Wednesday, February 3, 2021, gave the approval for the establishment of 20 additional private universities in the country, bringing the total number to 99. With the proliferation of these private tertiary institutions, reactions from Nigerians, especially stakeholders from the academia, seem to be directed towards the same standpoints.
Private school cannot afford the quality of lecturers you have in government school.
Check out the school fees that private schools students are paying, and yet nothing to show for it.
Some students on their part agree that private universities have an edge over the public ones in terms of steady and uninterrupted academic calendar. They, however, maintain that the quality and standard of education and training delivered in public universities cannot be compared with what is obtained in the private ones.
There won't be strikes, and students will have the time limited for them to finish school will not be extended more than that, you understand?
In educational aspects, I think the federal university is better.
These Nigerians therefore call on relevant authorities to find lasting solutions to the inadequacies plaguing the public universities so as to measure up with global educational standards. In Uyo, Utibe Achibong, NTA News.
Thank you, Tibi. And now to a subject the NTA is passionate about, catching them young. This is a catalyst for sustainable emergence of professionals in all fields of human endeavor. This adage played out at the 2021 International Day for Women Scientists, where female secondary school students were tasked to look to the future with great hope of achieving science-oriented careers. Veronica Emmanuel reports.
I want to become a medical doctor.
Despite the challenges of COVID-19 and gender competition around the globe, Salma Aminu, Chisom Okoronko and others are ambitious of living up to their dreams of becoming scientists.
It was hard coping with some of the subjects, but then as time went on, we got to understand.
I just want to be a gynecologist to help women who can't afford to go to hospital.
I want to be a pediatrician.
Laudable achievements of women in various scientific fields have continued to inspire young students to aspire and grow the courage to dare the paths of science, which is a global trend.
Nigerian girls are one of the best in the world. We are hardworking, our women, our ladies, our girls are very hardworking. They are cultured people, they are disciplined, they are willing to learn.
Today you have girls taking up the challenges. You have them doing even better than the boys.
Experts say to boost the chances of a realistic future in science for Salma, Chisom and their peers, stakeholders should build a solid foundation for more females to aspire to achieve great heights in the field of science. The theme for this year's International Day for Women Scientists is Women Scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. In Abuja, Veronica Emmanuel, NTA News.
Great expectations there. Now let's join Abubakar in our Maiduguri Network Center for trending stories from that end. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello, Najatu. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has called on communities where developmental projects are cited to imbibe maintenance culture. The governor made the call while inspecting road construction at Jidari community as well as London Chiki in Jere local government. Mohammed Goni completes the story.
In line with the 10-fact transformation agenda, the present administration has been embarking on developmental projects across the state. During an inspection visit to road construction at Jidari community, which is at various stages of completion, Professor Babagana Umara expressed dismay over the nonchalant attitude of the residents in the area, especially dumping of refuse in the newly constructed drainages. The governor stressed the need for the communities to take ownership of the projects. The entourage proceeded to London Chiki to inspect similar project, where he also assured the community that street lights will be installed as soon as the road and drainages construction is completed. Governor Babagana Umara was also at Karari Shuari village in Mafalakal government area, where he also inspected ongoing construction of housing estate there, urging the officials handling the project to expedite action and comply with specifications. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
About 27,000 people in Goza town have benefited from distribution of food items and cash support as part of humanitarian assistance of the Borno State government. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum personally supervised distribution of the commodities at 4 different locations in Goza township in an exercise that lasted for 2 days. Here again is Mohammed Guni with the rest of the story.
Supervised by Governor Babagana Umara, the distribution process commenced the first day with screening of beneficiaries, after which those screened were given tickets. Each of the 11,000 male beneficiaries was given a bag of rice, beans, and maize, with 10 persons in a group for convenience. Same process was followed the second day for the 16,000 female beneficiaries, where each of them was given 5,000 naira cash support. Beneficiaries were full of gratitude for the gesture, which they say will support in the upkeep of their families.
Da yake shi ya ce mana shi na talakawa ne, to wallahi mu talakawa muna tare da shi.
We distributed food items to about 11,000 heads of households. We shall see how we can support the women group. Their number is higher than that of their male counterparts, but it's ranging around 15 to 20,000.
What the governor did was touching on humanity. But I want to use this opportunity to call on the federal government and all the individuals concerned that what you see in Goza cannot be sustained by the state government.
The governor also addressed the civilian JTF and hunters, where he assured them of more support to complement efforts of the military and to protect farmers on their farmlands. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Those are the latest stories for now from Maiduguri. Let's now return to Najatu in Abuja for more reports. Najatu, it's back to you.
Thank you. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 938 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The latest figures bring the total number of confirmed cases to 143,516 infections in the country. A breakdown of the new cases from 20 states indicates that Lagos State recorded the highest number with 236 new cases, while the FCT has 123 new cases. Others are Plateau State with 92, Benue 63, Katsina 53, Oyo 50, Oshun 45, Kaduna 43, Edo 33, while Ogun and Ebonyi states have 31 new cases each. Akwa Ibom State has 30 new cases, Kano 26, Gombe 18, Bauchi 16, Delta 12, Imo 11, while Cross River and Rivers states have 10 new cases each. The day's tally is completed by Niger State, recording 5 new cases. A breakdown of confirmed cases by states indicates that Lagos State has the highest with 52,794 cases, followed by the FCT with 18,291, while Plateau State comes third with 8,567 cases. With the latest development, the total number of active cases stands at 23,794, while 118,012 cases have been successfully treated and discharged. Unfortunately, 1,710 patients have died so far. The Nigeria Governors Forum is set to inaugurate a high-level group of professionals who will advise on the procurement and administration of COVID-19 vaccines. This is part of the forum's communique at its 25th teleconference. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The forum resolution is aimed at ensuring the right information about the efficacy of the ravaging COVID-19 vaccines reaches the nook and cranny of the country. The forum is actively engaging the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, UBEC, and Save 1 Million Lives program for fiscal utilization in the areas of health, education, and empowerment. NGF also resolved to distribute outstanding funds under disbursement local indicator amongst 36 states and the FCT, and received commendation from 36 states first ladies on the sustained support against gender-based violence. Governors are also concerned over headers farmers' disagreement and promise to accelerate modern grazing initiative of the National Livestock Transformation Plan. NGF agrees to provide high-level support for the implementation of states' financial transparency, accountability and sustainability, which will be MDA's incentive-driven. The forum is also working closely with the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Nigerian Economy and Sustainability Plan, and Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025 to eradicate poverty and mitigate impact of COVID-19. Nigeria Governors Forum also commiserates with family of their colleague and governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, over the passing on of his father. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
That was the 25th teleconference of the Nigeria Governors Forum. The Cross River State Governor, Ben Ayade, is calling on the federal government to set up a COVID-19 vaccine production plant as a long-term plan for the country to effectively tackle the pandemic. Paul Abel reports.
Plans for Nigeria to purchase COVID-19 vaccines. Governor Ben Ayade is advising the Presidential Task Force to be cautious in the procurement process.
There are different types of vaccines. There are some of them that are using attenuated vaccines. So if it's attenuated, it means you have attenuated their life forms. So you need to store them in that deactivated form, and sometimes at minus 80 degrees.
Recently, the Minister of Health announced that 2 laboratories in Nigeria have come up with vaccines to undergo clinical tests, and Governor Ben Ayade believes that this is an avenue for the federal government to invest in the production of vaccines.
We can also start investing heavily in vaccine production. We have the capacity, we have the competence, we have the educated professors of virology, we have vaccinologists, we have a team that can do this. To set up a vaccine production plant is just $51 million.
For the country to produce our own vaccines, well-meaning Nigerians will need to support the initiative to make it a reality. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And still on the vaccine, the United Nations International Children's Education Fund, UNICEF, says 16 million doses of COVAX vaccine for COVID-19 will soon arrive Nigeria. The UNICEF country representative to Nigeria, Peter Hawkins, who was speaking during an advocacy visit to Ondo State, said the vaccine will cover 40% of the country's population. Abiola Ario reports.
During its advocacy visit to Ondo State, UNICEF disclosed that adequate efforts are being put in place to ensure Nigeria secure the right level of vaccines with the plan of equitable distribution through the primary healthcare centers at the ward level so that the vulnerable, especially at the rural communities, will be covered.
In the meantime, we're exploring how else to bring vaccine in that allows for Nigeria to go to 40% by the end of the year.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, however, identified poor energy supplies to the health centers at the ward level as a major challenge that can hamper the process by the time the vaccines are available.
When Nigeria cannot be exempted from supply, because we supply most of them waste. Let's be fair to ourselves. So maybe we have to wait for which of these companies, they want to say is about 65% efficient now, that doesn't need the storage.
The state government also solicits the assistance of UNICEF in the areas of crafting state development plan and ending open defecation on the state, particularly Akure, the state capital. In Akure, Abiola Ario, NTA News.
Let's now join Larry in Ibadan for more reports on Nationwide.
Thank you, Najhatu, and welcome to Ibadan. Registration of new members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and update of its register to improve on its membership and support base nationwide has received impressive response in Oyo State. Correspondent Shola Wahid monitored the registration and revalidation exercise.
After the distribution of materials to the 33 local government areas in Oyo State, APC members in the state have started the registration and revalidation processes, with party supporters expressing their support for the smooth takeoff of the exercise.
I'm appealing to every leader, all members, to go and register. We've put in a lot of efforts.
People are trooping out to register for our party. You can see the booklet is almost finished.
Committee members assigned to oversee and ensure conduct of the registration processes went round some wards in Ibadan for effective monitoring.
We want it to be orderly. We want it to be inclusive.
The APC membership registration becomes necessary for conflict resolution and reconciliation for the party to emerge stronger ahead of the congresses and the 2023 general elections. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NT News.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has disclosed the move to make the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, Ogbomoso, a conventional university. The governor stated these when he received a report of the Oyo State Negotiating Committee on the institution in Ibadan. Ayomiku Ajibola has the details.
Following the signing of LAUTECH Ogbomoso 2020 bill into law, Governor Seyi Makinde said the state will apply to the National University Commission (NUC) to convert LAUTECH Ogbomoso from University of Technology to a conventional university to enable the institution and do other courses outside technology brackets. The state government, according to him, will equally move the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences of the institution to Iseyin. The campus, he said, will open this year.
I've always spoken about the economic importance of LAUTECH to the people of Ogbomoso. This benefit cannot be enjoyed if our dear state is plunged into anarchy. So we must all unite to keep the peace in our dear state.
While reaffirming that parting ways with Osun State, Oladoke Akintola University of Technology was not born out of animosity, but out of desire to make the institution realize its vision of being one of the best in the country. Governor Seyi Makinde lauded his Osun State counterpart, Gboyega Oyetola, who he said put aside all differences, especially partisan politics, during the negotiation. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Let's now rejoin Najhatu in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Larry. February 14 is marked as Valentine's Day globally. To mark the day in Nigeria, the National Orientation Agency is preaching the message of love through the initiative of the Fall in Love with Nigeria campaign. Kenneth Nanim has details.
This day's celebration is an expression of love with family and friends. Many believe it is an affair for the youths and agile. Now, with the Fall in Love with Nigeria campaign, a patriotic initiative, the National Orientation Agency is redirecting attention of the youth and other Nigerians on national development.
In order for Nigerians to achieve the greatness for which it is destined, you and I, leaders and followers alike, must do our part. Great nations are not built by backpassing or convenient excuses, but by patriotic citizens who are willing to make the necessary sacrifices to ensure that the desired greatness is achieved.
The Fall in Love with Nigeria project is also emphasizing on the need for Nigerians to adhere strictly to all COVID-19 safety protocols.
COVID is real, and if it is real, then the precautions we are taking should also be real.
The Fall in Love with Nigeria campaign, which goes across states of the Federation, the National Orientation Agency says is characterized with messages of patriotism for every Nigerian. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Governor, a frontline social advocacy group, Citizens Action for Good Governance, has described the extension of the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, as a well-thought-out move by President Muhammadu Buhari for effective policing. And that report will come in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State has faulted some state governors for promoting ethnic tension in Nigeria arising from the recent herders-farmer clashes in some parts of Nigeria. The governor gave the indication at the closing of the 2021 Bauchi. Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad reports.
It was a moment of introspection for members of the Bauchi Correspondent Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists as they marked their 2021 Press Week with the theme, The Role of the Media in Promoting Peace and Unity in Nigeria.
We will continue to use our pen or keypad as is applicable these days to contribute positively towards the development of our state and the nation.
Responding on the theme of the week, Governor Bala Muhammad, who cautioned some governors to guard against utterances and policies that threatens the peace and unity of Nigeria, called on journalists to be cautious of their reportage, exercise restraint, and avoid taking sides in issues of herders-farmers clashes to safeguard the unity and peace of the country.
You don't accommodate other tribes. We are also accommodating your tribes in Bauchi and other places. We have so many chief people working in farming in Al-Kaleri, farming in Tafawa Balewa, farming in Bogoro. Has anybody told them to go? We have not, because it's their own inalienable right to be there.
Going down memory lane, representative of NTS Director General gave account of the roles journalists played towards entrenching peace and the return of democracy in Nigeria.
Given agents of destruction, agents of disunity, agents of disharmony, liberal media space to talk down on Nigeria, to talk down on Nigerian institutions that have, assisted us in being what we are today. Our fault lines have been, exacerbated by complicity of the media.
The 2021 Bauchi Correspondent Chapels Week climaxed with presentation of awards to Governor Bala Muhammad, prominent sons and daughters of Bauchi State, and members of the Correspondent Chapel. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
Thank you, Mahmoud. We sincerely apologize for that earlier mix-up. It's time to link up with our Makurdi Network Center, where Fatima Hassan is standing by. Good evening, Fatima.
Najatu. In a bid to encourage goat production as a means of wealth creation within the agricultural space, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has trained and empowered 40 smallholder rural households on best practices for goat production in Benue State. Correspondent Simbiat Abaji reports that this is in partnership with the Benue State Agricultural and Rural Development Authority.
The outbreak of COVID-19 has affected all sectors of the economy, agriculture not excluded. This has created concerns among stakeholders who fear that this too can affect food security in the country. It is to change the narrative and encourage people, especially rural dwellers, that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is teaming up with its Benue counterpart to organize a 2-day training for goat farmers in the state, a scheme the farmers have promised to make the most of.
Through the goats that they have given us now, if we utilize them very well, we will achieve a lot.
If I take good care of them, it will alleviate poverty in my family and even in the entire Benue State.
The team leader representing the Director, Federal Department of Agricultural Extension, Dorothy Bota, says the number of animals produced is not commensurate with the growing population.
Goat is an animal that produces in short term, 6 months.
So many people are actually going hungry or eating food that is not proteinous enough. And so if we can actually be trained on these small ruminants, especially goat, we can make a difference.
The organizers are optimistic that the training will empower beneficiaries to be self-reliant and develop market strategies so as to better their living standards. Beneficiaries were drawn from the 23 local government areas of the state. In Makurdi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
On the fight against the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has recently stepped up its campaign on the observance of the safety protocols, especially as a result of the new wave that has hit Nigeria and some other parts of the world. Consequently, a presidential order had been effected in Lagos and Abuja, two of the most affected parts of the country. It is in its effort to contain the scourge that some major markets in the Makurdi metropolis have taken measures to fully comply with government safety directives. Ibrahim Solomon brings us the details.
When NTA Makurdi crew visited the Makurdi modern market to ascertain the level of compliance to COVID-19 protocols, the crew observed a high level of compliance as they made provisions for hand-washing stand and sanitizers. Besides the protocols, the market is wearing a new look as the new management had ensured proper maintenance of the market.
We have a task force of COVID-19 in the market. We go around the market at interval to make sure there is water, hand sanitizer, and every trader with a face mask. And if you are not with one, you are penalized.
Market is neat. They are sweeping it every morning.
However, the situation is not the same at the other markets visited. In these markets, their sanitary conditions were of major concern, just as most people were spotted without the use of face masks or observance to any form of safety protocols.
If you look at the nature of this market, it's quite different from other markets. We don't have like street in the market, we don't have road and what have you.
I was just looking at people's faces and what's happening? Everybody is like living a normal life and actually it's not supposed to be so.
Chairman Makurdi Local Government Area Anthony Dege says the council has carried out enough awareness campaign and the task force will soon swing into action by arresting defaulters.
Any of the markets that the people face to maintain the rules and regulations of COVID-19, the task force teams will go against such a marketplace.
Further appeal to people of the state to emulate traders at the modern market as to abide by the guidelines of COVID-19 protocols so as to reduce the further spread of the virus in the state. In Makurdi, Ibrahim Solomon, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Makurdi. Nationwide continues in Abuja after this break.